Welcome to the very special Coffs Harbour preview, coming to you from near Coffs Harbour, Emerald Beach. Gord has recovered from his,
Well, we had a fill-up today.
But more is the point, your preparation for today was an interesting preparation at 3 a.m.
I've done a lot of work, yes.
More is the point, we're joined by Owen from Sportsbet, who's on tour again.
Okay, not just Owen from Sportsbet, guys. You've got to realise we've got a guy from Sportsy here, but he's not just a normal form analyst. He is the best form analyst that works for a corporate in Australia.
Listen,
that is actually the weakest pull you've ever seen, but he's a big fish in a little pond.
nice lies coming out, mate.
And by the way, we've had Dodd phone in to give his all his selections as well, and he's the second best form analyst that works for a corporate.
But most importantly, we've got the breeding buff on the show. Nigel is backing up.
Yes. Deep Impact. Any Deep Impact horses tomorrow? No?
Paul's been sent to the bench after laying a couple of winners today, but he'll be back. He'll be itching to get back. Of course, I'm blessed to have his preeminent software ratings to win, which I couldn't have even looked at Coffs Harbour without. It's a pretty deep meeting, isn't it, Owen? Or deep is perhaps not the right word. It's more inscrutable.
Yeah, it's tricky. Starts off easy enough and then gets...
Well, seems to. So last year we were here. It was sunny and the track was fast. This year we've come up and the weather has turned. Not a lot of rain around, threatening. I think they did predict 20 mils, didn't they? But it hasn't eventuated at this point. So I think we're still working off a good track. And last year, most of the winners were on the pace. Tended to be not from inside draws.
Okay.
You're against inside draws, Mark?
Good. Yep. You know what that's right. Off the rails, draw wide.
Yeah.
That's what I say all the time. But I actually want to work forward on this track. I'm not just going to back a horse because it draws wide and it's going to race off away from the rails. I actually want them to go forward. I want them to be in the first half dozen in the bigger fields and maybe even closer in those.
And what are we saying about the track? Because it's very muggy conditions, but for me, even though it's muggy, the track is going to play closer to good than soft.
Yes. Well, they get to actually say it's soft because they haven't had enough rain to even do that. So, I'm working off a good track at the moment. Owen, what are you saying?
Dodd has sent up his preview, and he thinks,
good man.
Yeah, very good man. He thinks,
but his absence will be missed.
It will be, but he's saying it'll be off the rails. That's
okay.
What all his data is saying.
All right, Nigel, your overview of this meeting? From a breeding perspective.
No, nothing from a breeding perspective on this one, but. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it was good. It wouldn't surprise me if that it starts as a soft 6. Looking out, there's a few clouds that might contain rain, and sometimes I find
isn't it?
Sometimes when I find you get those tracks that are around the 5 or 6, they become very fanning type tracks where leading is no longer an advantage.
Yeah, I think it was particularly the last meeting where the rail was out, there was a cutaway, they sort of came down the outside, the track was a fair bit wetter.
I'm so annoyed with that.
Yeah.
So annoyed.
All right, let's kick off the program with race 1. It's the blink and miss it race, and it's been relegated to race 1 because it only has 8 acceptors, and Agent Pippa is our short price favourite, coming off a Sydney Metropolitan win. And it's $1.70. Another Sin, who ran third in the Kirby, is $4.20. Mr. Hennessy, $6.50. Ganaza is $6.50. They're the runners under double figures. Our map, my map, courtesy of Ratings to Win, should show Agent Pippa holding them out. I think Nigel made a very good point to me earlier on today, saying that the 800 is very close to a gradual turn, and it's actually hard to get across them. And Agent Pippa should be able to hold them out.
Yeah, they're very surprised if it didn't. Would probably have to miss the start.
I've heard a suggestion that Ganaza will cross. So.
Right, well it's an old sort of slow fast horse. Owen, you got anything to say about that?
I think this race, you don't want to confuse yourself too much. You can get very lost in the figures with Gananza, Mr. Hennessy, those sort of horses. This thing looks like a tomorrow to start the day for the punters. I think it'll firm and be really hard to beat.
All right, good. You have the same opinion?
Well, it's quite strange. Like and I were talking earlier on, and we thought $1.70 was a fantastic price. This horse, it should start a lot shorter. But syndicates, who generally have a massive effect on the market, are suggesting that maybe it might blow.
All right,
So-
but I would have thought that the market would bear a shorter price from the non-syndicate players, as in the mainly recreational punters. Isn't that a thought process that happens in the large corporate zone? That you're thinking, well, you know, how short can we get them sort of rolling in on this type of horse?
Yeah, that's definitely right. But look, I think tomorrow morning this will be backed.
Okay. Is there anything else we need to say about this race? Should we move on? It's the
Hey, mate, we should talk about this race all day. You know why? Because it's an absolute moral.
Right. So
You
what's
don't win a Saturday Metropolitan race last start and not win at Coffs Harbour.
okay? So all right, we'll talk about that in relation to the Coffs Harbour Cup later. But what's the idea here? Why? Look, you know, she's resumed in town. She's an Australian thoroughbred horse.
Nigel stuff.
Yep.
You know, why bother bringing her here?
It doesn't make any
It's a
sense.
barrier trial. It's instead of a trial.
Probably. I think that's the only explanation, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
why
who
wouldn't
knows?
you run around for 120 or whatever in town next start and win that?
They might have a few of the owners grouped. Something like that. Yeah.
Anyway, it's exciting that she's coming. Race 2, 1300 metre maiden. This was race 1 last year, and we all fell into the Bowman Matthew Dunn horse that failed to flutter. Matthew Dunn presents the favourite again this year. Hugh Bowman has...
Well, I'm sure PD will be backing the Matthew Dunn horse. I'm not sure.
Aside to ride it, I'm calling it mashed potato, but apparently its name is Mass Poeta. It is the favourite at 2.15. Oh So Hot, the 3-year-old filly, well, she's 2. Really, they're all turning 3 tomorrow, is $4.60. Serlina, who's having its first start for a local trainer, fresh up with the blinkers again on, is $6. Then we're out to $10 the Time Warp, $11 Nanny's Primed, $14 and longer the rest. Now, as far as the map is concerned, mashed potato definitely settled well off the speed in a shorter course race last time. The ratings to win map has a couple of horses from the deep pressing on, Rip Sparkler, Mems Magic and Aegeus. Oh So Hot, who drew inside of Tari the other day, would be advised to sort of get forward and try and slot in there. And Queen Gina looks to have some speed from a low draw. Pace is marked above average. Have we got any insight here? Who wants to go? Who wants to have a crack at this? Oh, I will. Oh So Hot is a horse that I've been following all preparation. I had no opinion of it in its first 2-year-old campaign, where she sort of got close to them in the Kiyomichi race at her third start. Then she returned for some honourable type runs at Warwick Farm and Canterbury midweek, went back to Grafton for the 2-year-old feature and was restrained back and worked home okay, and then looked to go into a gimme at home at Taree last time, found the inside, and it wasn't so much she was uncomfortable, it was just a bad spot for her. She had nothing to take her into the race. Then the gap opened and she seemed sort of like one whack away in the straight. I think from a wider draw she looks well, she's a chance to be more dynamic in this race in the sense that she can go forward and have some clear air.
Tomorrow.
What?
Oh So Hot.
All right,
It's an
but
absolute moral, mate.
all right, but the other
And
horse.
it's a great price, and the market's wrong. Now, I'm not saying that Oh So Hot will jump favourite, but I'm going to do my best to make sure that it's a hell of a lot shorter than it is.
All right, so right off the favourite for us, Gord, then obviously because you're tipping the second favourite, which means you don't like the favourite.
You know, I'm a massive fan of stables in form. This stable is performing 5 lengths worse than it was last year. So last year, if you were looking, you would have seen a Matthew Dunn horse and you go, great chance, he's setting this up, blah, blah, blah. It's not quite so relevant at the moment because the stable actually isn't going well.
Well, it's a key point on the program because there's a lot of Matthew Dunn horses and they've either got H. Bowman or Robbie Fradd on them.
And I think that's why it's actually come up so short, because of the connections. So I think the old rating stuff is giving a massive tick to Dunn, and also Huey's come to ride it.
I know, but it did run in a $40,000 maiden on Ramornie Day.
But you know what the thing is, mate? It's like Owen from Sportsbet or anybody from Bet365 or Ladbrokes or whatever. They know that they're actually going to back this horse because of the connections, so they can open it up the wrong price and still hold money at the wrong price.
Yeah, that's right.
So anyway, is that true or not?
I'm not saying it's true or not true, but I mean, this is definitely a horse you'll be able to retail short, no problem.
It's fashionable.
It's going to be very fashionable. Huey's on it, and yeah, I agree. It's under the odds. I'm very happy you'd be very happy to lay it at that price. But having said that, if it got out past $3, you could consider it. You've made the case for So Hot. It's got a great chance, but it's no superstar. This race for me will be price orientated. If you can get more than $3, you might have a bet on the potato.
Oh, okay. Shit.
Right,
well, you are Irish, so you like potatoes.
Nigel, passing here, you got something to offer?
No, I'd sort of agree with Owen's philosophy. The only horse I could back in the race is the favourite, and but I couldn't back it at this price.
The T Berry horse, a 5-year-old mare, she's had 13 goes, she's 9th up. It's nothing very exciting there, but to last 2 starts at Grafton, and prior to that ran in what looked a hot little maiden at Port Macquarie. So I thought being home and T Berry booked to ride, she wasn't necessarily out of the race. Jay Grisdale off T Berry, there's a big jockey change there. Race 3, the Ken Howard Memorial, and our Gravano is a dual acceptor, but the other dual acceptor has already been scratched from the same yard. That's Mill Sean. So our Gravano at the moment is $2.20. Nistelrooy is $6.50. Lammer Hilton $7. Rage Against Tantat Nova at $11 with Meteorologist $12. Lots of these tired stayers you will see line up in this race, in the Lismore Cup. Any of those 2,000 metre races going around, they pretty much have to run in. So it's interesting that we've actually got a horse having its last start in town in this race. But it is an interesting case because, of course, it's a horse that ended up getting a suck run through off a very hot speed last Wednesday, Owen. Yeah,
that's right, yeah. Look, I hate this race. I'm not keen to get involved. That favourite, it's a slow horse. It'll need a lot of speed on to show its best and grind away. Hard to find something to beat it. Don't like the Bush 2,000 metre form. If it was to blow significantly, but I don't think it will, you could think about it, but don't want to get involved here.
Right, so you've been working out and getting your weight down. You might be jumping on the Clark of the course here to have a crack.
That's it, yeah.
Gord, sending you $33, or you want to say something?
I so want to bet in the race. There's only 2 chances, which is our Graviana, which at the moment is under the odds. Okay, but it is obviously you have to rate a favourite, and the bet is Lama Hilton. I don't normally get too excited about 44 starts, 6 wins. Okay, it's not my style.
It's probably 4 wins out of his last 12.
But this isn't a strong race, and this horse is $9 at the moment. I noticed at Sportsbet $7. You're not being very aggressive there.
This is Dodd doing this.
It's Dodd. It's Dodd. You ran in a provincial race last start. That's a tick. Okay. You had Louise Day on you. Who have you got in them now? T Berry.
Right, big fat riding change. I think you might have stolen Nigel's thunder there. I think you were thinking the same way, Nigel.
Yeah, I have watched these horses. This horse's runs the last few starts since I thought it was a pretty good win at Scone 4-back. It then it stayed at the mile at Dubbo and sort of worked home quite well.
Yep.
Then
that was a strong race too. Any Blinking Day, Sugar Dance, that's a strong country
and
race.
I sort of think that the last 2 runs, it's been dour, but says to me it needs a more aggressive rider, and the last 2 riders that have been on it have been Louise Day and Jenny Duggan. So I think if this horse can be put into the race a little bit earlier, I think it's with the weight advantage it gets over the Al Gravano, I think it's a great chance of beating it. and I think it's a very solid each way
particularly
bet.
if we're running on a good track.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned.
It's been on sticky stuff its last 2 starts. It's actually far better on good tracks.
Will be an improved track. Yeah.
The map here says above average speed, have Rage Against leading Tantat Nova, a couple of scrubbers, Wing Poet and Winkler on the speed, Nisselroy probably closest. So both the horses that we've spoken about, Lama Hilton and Algravano, appear to race back and have to get past these scrubbers in the straight. We'll see how they go. Race 4 is the 1200 metre class 3. I think someone's appetite has been whetted here. The market starts with J Sweet Tycoon at $3.20, $6 Manila Miss, $6, $8.50 Vacate, $10 Engadine, Cajito, $11 Spirit of Cherokee, $12 Bulgaria, last start highway runner. The map says a fast pace with Engadine. This is designated. This is like a leader from leader's draw, up in distance, crashing across to lead. Common sense, handy, and they've got Vacate racing closer than it did at the shorter course there last time. J Sweet Tycoon goes back and looks to find a running line of cover. Okay, Gord, you may as well take it away.
Well, I will mention the fact that Mr. Nichols is actually jumping on a plane tomorrow, who's the owner of Engadine, to come up because he's expecting a very good performance. Bad luck, Mr. Nichols, it's not going to win. I think I've mentioned on the show before, obviously this is going out to different people so they don't watch our stuff all the time, but I said that anywhere Just Sweet Tycoon goes next start, I'm going to back it. I think Nigel has actually researched the horse better than I have, but Nigel, I mean, you said it, what do you...
Yeah, well, it's I think it was... You know, it had sort of question marks over its last run. I mean, some people could look at that run and say it was just fair. I know you've looked at its first up run and thought it was actually a very good run. But the thing about its last run is that it had CJ Graham on it, and she just never got the horse travelling the way it can travel, this horse. And it tends to be a bit of a pattern with CJ Graham. And here we've got the transfer to Ben Looker. Now, Ben Looker, I think it might be his first ride on it, but he rode it last fortnight in a trial.
Yeah.
And anyone wants to jump on Racing New South Wales and have a look at this trial, it wouldn't matter who you spoke to, they'd love the trial. And the horse that actually... won the trial, Rambler Rebel, virtually did everything wrong, ranked at the outside fence last Monday at Taree and still won. I think it gets a nice race pattern here. It can sort of sit in the back third of the field and get a 3-wide card into it, which is the way it normally races. And I think by this time of day, hopefully you've got a fan in track, a touch of giving the track, it'll actually power home. And I think this is what we're going to try and clean out the bookies ring here, or what?
We're going to be taking a lot of prices, yes. We're going to be backing it multiple times.
So we better get our cash ready.
No, what are you saying?
Look, you've made the case for it. I'm not going to say too much more. I just thought if you're looking for something around the favourite, if it gets a run, Spirit of Cherokee, trained at Coffs Harbour.
The old carnival day.
No, but there's also a cunning trainer.
He is.
He trained the winner of the Maiden at 50-1 in race 1 last year.
Yeah, I'd be surprised, if he didn't have one of his horses in the finish tomorrow. You get Tommy Barry going on this if it gets in. Last time it was a bit slow out and restrained, 3 wide, put in a decent effort. And can possibly settle closer here from the inside gate.
That interests me.
Yeah, I think we'll have some backers and layers for this favourite because she is an off pacer that can't own the race.
Yeah, a low percentage base. Yes, but you're in a race where it's yours to own.
Yeah, but you look at the jockeys that Jenny Graham's had it for 6 starts, and she used Kirk Matheson, who has the lowest rating on a ratings to win jockey scale there, and then CJ Graham,
really?
Samantha Clinton, CJ Graham. So Ben Looker is the man for the job. I certainly.
He's a great bush jockey, man.
I certainly can see that. I'm interested that Owen mentioned Spirit of Cherokee because he's a set-up horse for sure, and Vacate looks to have been primed for this race. Fairly average horse, but seems to tick a few boxes here.
Sweet.
I thought Bulgari had some sort of hope coming back from the highway as well. Okay, race 5 is the short course, and I really start to lose my enthusiasm when I have to dive into these horses. The 2-year-old in a step, locally trained, is favourite. She won that $40,000 maiden that Mashed Potato tried to run her down in. She's $2.70. Ashman is $5. Countercurrent ex Bjorn Baker is $7.50. Impulsive Manoeuvre is $8, and then we're into double figures all about Charlie. Map says that the pace is fast here. The winner in this race sort of sat 3 deep on the speed throughout, just kept coming. In a step, was a brilliant beginner at Grafton, and you'd imagine that she's straight there. Western Alliance has some good speed. Outside the favourite, Friends of Wren, and underneath the favourite, Cocky, Rocky and Ilia. Countercurrent, an honourable mention there. So fast pace. Can we find a bet here, gentlemen? Gord, are you passing on this one? This is just
yes, I think I'll hand this over to the more ratings focused people. Yes.
Well, it's also map, isn't it? You know, it's not just ratings, it's map.
Yeah, very tricky. Don't want to get involved with anything early. Want to see the pattern and see what's happening on the day. If you can't, leaders are struggling. I think, that 280 Johnny Grisdale could be a great lay. The one that's sort of left off the page, but I'm not even too sure about it, and it will be depending on price and how the inside's holding up, is Ashman with Huey jumping on for Matt Dunn.
Those connections again, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, that'll be the horse I'm interested in. Coming off the.
I love linked form on a program. Okay, so you're tipping Mashed Potato earlier on.
Well, price dependent. It's a lay at the moment.
Yes, price dependent. But what I'm saying is, if it gets the job done, then doesn't this thing just win?
Well, it depends on the pattern.
So I think a suggested play is, I don't like either of these horses, okay? But if you want to have an all up,
Mashed Potato into this horse.
Yes, then that's
look, it was a more impressive win than it looked to me on paper. Nigel, the way she just owned the lead so instantly, admittedly against maidens, but it wasn't a cheap maiden. And then she almost anchor dropped, which I thought was a bit of a negative. I mean, it sort of cost her as far as the race was concerned. And then she sort of dominated the race late. So I really wanted to be hard against her, and I felt that I couldn't be that hard against her because these are, there's plenty of battles. But can you find something here?
No, not really. I'd be too nervous to actually back this leader. I think, I just would. I think it'd probably want a good track with a sort of favourable on-pace pattern for it to be a bet.
Impulsive Manoeuvre, I'll give it an honourable mention too. I saw it caught cast wide there in 1100 last time. Comes back home and should posse up. But we'll hand that over to anybody else that's interested in that race. Race 6 is the Daniel Baker. It's the 1200 metre feature sprint. I should mention that Epic Dan is a dual acceptor, so he's no certain runner.
We're on a break. We're on a big program break, or we.
I think we'll go through one part.
Yeah.
Overruled. Sorry, Gord. The speed is only average, despite the size of the field. The market starts out with $4 Chalmers and $4 Tarbert, who's won 5 from 7 on this track. $7.50 Powerline, so Chris Lee's 1 and 3rd favourite. $8 Tall Event, $8.50 Impregnable, and then we're into $12 and longer. And Dantka is our designated leader. He's old and fast, and looks to control the lead there. Val Beata and Epic Dan underneath to posse up. Shelley Beach Road got unders, and Impregnable up from 1,000 to push on from the deep. It is the 1200 minute start at Coffs Harbour, sort of they run away from you, and then sort of have that that long turn. So you need to get on your bike quite fast.
Yeah, it's just like Flemington actually, just the other way.
What, the 1400 metre at Flemington?
Yeah.
But Flemington a bit larger and sort of
But it's just got that sweeping bend like
it's got that
Flemington,
same
which
shape,
everyone's
yeah.
familiar with. Yeah.
Yeah, Rafa's Choice won this race. No, he didn't win this race last year, but he won the 1200 last year, and he was like just average to jump, but just whipped around them and just controlled the race after that. Loose Goose came up outside it and then died in the hole at the 200. Does anyone have an idea about this race?
I'll sort of start. Interesting that the two favourites here have drawn barriers 1 and 2, and by this stage I think we would have established a pattern, and if there has been a bit of rain and the inside is starting to play a bit off, I'd be taking that into consideration here. So yeah, a bit nerve-wracking to actually take the early prices about these two favourites, given that scenario is a possibility. That being said, the only horse that I could back in this race is Harbour. As you said, 5 from 7 at the track. Also, 5 from 7 second up. So here it is, back to its favourite track, second up. I think this is one of those prize money boost races, so I think the stable have really eyed off this race.
And the trial since the first up run as well.
Yeah. So for me, if the pattern isn't going to kill it, it's the way I'd rather play the race. Otherwise, I'm lost.
Yeah, look, I mean, it seems like a race where I just go yuck to Chalmers, drawn gate 1 there, but of course, it's perhaps a bit glib. Owen, is there more merit in Chalmers than I'm? Am I too biased?
No, I don't know. Dodd was very keen actually. The two short course trials.
Yeah.
But look, I think what you said is completely spot on. You got to see what's happening with the pattern and the track with barriers 1 and 2. Like this could be a good result for the bookies. Even something that I was having a look at, like Epic Down, he's been going round.
Well, he ran second last in this race last year. Of course, he worked around them and did a lot of work actually. But I mean, he seems to be racing particularly well. Obviously, perhaps been assisted by some wet tracks, but he has some dry track form as well.
Yeah.
Lord, any interest in Epic Down there?
Of course. It's the only bet in the race. It's the wrong price. What is it, like $15, $16?
It is. It is 14.
You come off a Saturday Metropolitan run in Sydney. You don't even know anymore. If you're that price coming to Coffs, you're just a bet. And this horse will jump shorter than that.
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it is a dual acceptor, and I wanted to be in love with Tarbert, but I'm very anxious about his in-run position.
And we've got a Melbourne Cup winning jockey on board too.
There we go. Coffs Harbour Cup is our feature, and we're about to head off to Calcutta this evening in the Pier Hotel. Looks like Elvis, $4.80, is a dual acceptor. Curra is $5. Hallelujah Boy, $7. Mr. Garcia, $11 with Awake the Stars. Valentino Rosser, another dual acceptor, $11. Love Shack Baby, $11. Queen of Kingston, the darling of the Northern Rivers, $12. Gold Ambition, dual acceptor, $13. Bodega Negra, 16 with Fuel, and Evo Pex, another local hero, and 21 and longer.
Like hero, because remember last year?
Yeah, he won.
Who declared it?
Evo Pex, the last race.
Yeah, Owen had the biggest fill up you've ever seen. Yeah, and he knocked off Gordon's lead. Remember the race?
Yeah.
And he came out and won the highway at like
250. Two starts later. So Fuel looks to leap onto the lead here. Love Shack Baby can go forward, but hasn't necessarily been going forward. You'll have a few nuffies out wide. To Cool Prince, Lethal Dream should get a run to press on, and underneath them, Awake the Stars should she run. Hallelujah Boy can posse up, fresh up at the mile. What do you say about the map, Owen? This is at least a race that you might have some insight.
Oh, I think there'll be good speed. Love Shack Baby get a nice run. But look, going to go straight to it. Love Shack Baby, really keen.
SP against Curra.
Yeah, like that. Not best ground the other day. Doesn't want it too wet, but I think it'll be the firmer in the race.
Right, maybe I should let Paul on the show and I have a buy.
Tomorrow.
Come on, Gord. Okay.
I agree with that one.
Right.
Like, I love the fact that this is all rain dependent, okay? If we actually don't get the rain, which I think it's actually becoming more likely than not at the moment, this will just win.
So you're always saying beware the winner of the race. I mean, Owen and I really are the SP banger honours. The winner of the race was Curra, who was quite strong through the line. He's sort of been set up for this race. What are you saying about him?
I'm just saying the horse can't go on the wet.
Love Shack.
Yeah.
Right.
So if actually it is a good track, it's actually weird as far as David Pfeiffer is concerned, who's the trainer of this particular horse.
2 shows ago. Or was it?
No, he had a peak period a few weeks ago, and I was thinking it was starting to drop off. If I had my my map whatever of him like this, I would be max betting this horse.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I think he might be dropping off.
All right. So that's a consideration. Scratched from a suitable race today at Warwick Farm to come up here, and the stablemate Pelothronius has been withdrawn. What?
Oh, by the way, some really smart judges have suggested to me that Valentino Rossi is a really good bet in this race.
Yeah, well, he's been looking for a dry track, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He went up to Brisbane last time and struck a wet track, and that was the race that Gold Ambition.
Just sort of like, he's just got this hint of like being a bit of a nonny to me.
Well, he's like Jason Cole's horses. I mean, Nicoche won today, but they need everything to go right, and I was a bit concerned about the
Yeah,
rider
but
choice.
at least Kathy O'Hara's not riding this one. It's Tegan Harrison, but he does like a female jockey, doesn't he? Eh?
He does, Mr. Wingnuts. Nigel, what position do you want to take?
Yeah, for those that watched the show yesterday, Love Shack Baby was my tip at Warwick Farm. And it didn't come without scrutiny from the others. And the horse that happened to win that race today was Nicoche, who Love Shack Baby beat in that race.
No, you're getting confused there. Nicoche won the earlier race. It was the Travancore that won the race that Love Shack Baby was scratched from.
Travancore?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Nicoche won today. Somewhat franking the form.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm not going to declare this horse. I think the race is very, very tough, and I give both of the favourites I think there were the top two in the market. Looks Like Elvis and Curra. I would have Looks Like Elvis the favourite over Curra, but some of these horses are around 10, 15 to 1. Are great chances as well. I'd rather be against the two Lee's horses at the top, but things like Valentino Rossi and to a milder degree Queen of Kingston, I think they are both chances, given we have a bit of a swooping pattern. Not as confident as the boys, but happy to have something on Love Shack Baby as well.
I actually think that, Owen, you should talk about some of the other chances in the race, because this is your kind of race.
Yeah, in fact, this is what you're here for.
Yeah.
You've got to sing for your supper.
Yeah.
Looks Like Elvis, Love Shack Baby went around in a mile race in February at Warwick Farm. Looks Like Elvis started shade shorter, beat him home. Surely Looks Like Elvis has got a sympathetic setup here.
Yeah, well, Dodd actually knows the horse well.
Yeah.
And
he's a Brisbane man, isn't he?
He's a Brisbane man, and he said, look, it's very honest. You'll get, like what Nigel said, I suppose, on exposed form on the last start, you can see why it's favourite in this market. Hallelujah Boy will want it very wet. I'm not sure it's going to get that. I think Kerr is a wet tracker too. We're not sure if it's going to.
The weird thing about Hallelujah Boy is, because I don't like first up on wet.
Yeah.
So even if you're a wetty, I don't like your first up, because I love Mark's attitude, which is you need to be fit to run through wet track. So it was the one I was particularly interested in, and then had to pen it due to those two negatives.
Yeah, and then you mean the other sort of, I suppose, note on the roulette wheel in this race is Mr. Garcia.
Long spell, first start for the trainer.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone Andreas Fuller, DK Weir, Chris Lees. It's the Australian bloodstock horse. They're obviously running through brick walls. Huey's booked. You wouldn't think it'd be up here just for the laugh.
Yeah, but it's a pipe opener, isn't it? And you know.
And look, we haven't mentioned Queen of Kingston. Not
Well, Nigel has.
Sorry.
He's sort of definitely put it in the mix. But she's. The thought is that maybe she's not a true miler. Is that?
Yeah. So, as I said, I think she's a swooper, and she probably needs to get a drag into it rather than making a long sustained run at 1600. But she's won at the track last start with a big weight. She's got so she's familiar with the track. She's got a favourite jockey on his. I think probably got to his lightest weight he can to ride it. So I think it's a chance. So I think it's possibly over the odds, but probably wouldn't want to have it running against me. But yeah, that's the sort of thing to do.
Yep. So what about something like Awake the Stars, were she to run? I know that Toby Edmonds hasn't put a rider on her, so that's that doesn't seem promising. But I mean, she's she's coming back from on pace. It's only Brisbane, but coming back from on pace to race sort of just behind the lead here.
Yeah, the on pace but slowly run race.
Yeah.
Yeah, last start. Yeah, didn't.
Like you're saying, it's a false leader. Last start was a false leader because it's soft pace. Or,
it was well beaten last start. Of course, it ran 8th of. It was 9th or 11th in a listed race.
Just didn't have that race going particularly good.
All right.
Why do you have different colours?
Through track condition.
Oh, so
it's like it's premium form, isn't it?
So what's purple?
You might be colourblind.
Pink.
Oh, pink. Well, what's pink?
Oh, like a sort of dead track.
Dead track.
Right.
Yes, we don't use that description officially anymore. The nightcap at Coffs Harbour is the race that Evo Pex won last year. This year it has been upgraded to 50,000, but restricted to country trained horses only. There probably weren't any provincial trained horses in the race last year, but anyway, with the up in prize money, they've kept it with the country trainers. And Matthew Dunn is involved again. He's got the favourite Malawi Gold at $4.60. Exclusive is 6. Galway is $6. Heavens High off a highway is $6.50, and then we're into double figures headed by Northern Wilderose. Speed is supposed to be above average, and the map starts with an emergency leading, which probably won't get a run, St Dennis. Heavens High is right up there in the van. Malawi Gold won't be too far away with Northern Wilderose, and Delayed Response is a wild card to press on from a mid to wide draw. As I say, pace above average.
How many colours do you have?
God, have you got a bet in this last race? We've got horses that I think the Malawi Gold was an acceptor on a highway that we.
I haven't done the race, Mark.
Okay, Heavens High, of course, as I mentioned, is out of a highway. Exclusive used to be trained by Snowden's, and then Newnham is now trained up at Casino. Who's got any intel here?
I've got some interest in the race. Yeah, I'm prepared to back Exclusive here. I thought it was to steal one of.
We have a spectator in the background, just like screaming, "This is the best bet of the day."
To steal one of Gord's words, I thought its last win was dynamic. No, it really showed a great turn of foot between the 500 and the 300, where it basically went from 10th on the turn to being a length in front. And only risk for me is that it actually isn't a miler, but it's up in distance. It's sort of drawn to get that suck run, so I'm hoping that it does run the mile out. But for me, it clearly has the most ability in the race, and a solid bet for me.
You know what's great too, Nige, is that how the amateur punter generally they do best bets and stuff like that. Not even in the top 4.
Right.
That's a really good thing.
Okay.
Sorry, what are you saying, Gord? I missed the...
See, I love it when you're amateurs, like the people who work for Sky or the people who work for Best Bets, actually don't like the horse that I like, because all that dumb money goes on the wrong horse, which means I get a better price.
Okay. This Malawi Gold, I know we've been bagging Dunn all day, but he does have some Brisbane stuff that's good enough. raced against Black Wand, who of course ran in the highway last Saturday. In fact, Black Wand started a lot longer than it.
Did he come second, though?
Yeah, Black Wand came second in the highway. So there's a line there through Heaven's Highs, who of course got a line with good old Terry Evans trained one more Sapphire.
Yeah, I didn't spot that.
Yeah, so there's, I can make a strong case for 3 and 5. I accept what Nigel's saying. Exclusive off that last start alone looks great, but I wasn't convinced about what was underneath it. I just couldn't make sense of why it suddenly looked so good when its previous form to me didn't suggest that.
What were the figures?
The
Daily?
ratings to win.
Figures or?
Went Snowden to Martin,
Yeah.
and then Steve Bennett, who's now got a local-ish in the area, casino, seems to have been a key to the horse. It ran on my figures the 7th best 800 to 200 on the day, which for me all goes quite well for upping distance. It helps.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, for those of you unfamiliar with ratings to win, they employ a holistic rating, and Exclusive smashes the holistic rating out of the park in its last start. So that will be a key factor in approaching the betting of the race.
You know that the Cynic is going to back it as well.
As we're filming, it is pissing down.
I'm actually against the wetties tomorrow, so
but where we are, we're right on the beach here, which Coffs Racecourse is a couple of k's inland. So the feature of this rain has been that it has been hugging the coast. Anyone looking at Randwick Saturday will notice that it's a heavy 9. And Warwick Farm was a fast track today. So we'll have to wait and see what the race course itself pops. Okay, let's have a look for some better bets on this card.
No, 2 best bets for me. I'll leave because I'm tired. Agent Pippa and Just Sweet Tycoon, having all up with them guys, will both win.
Okay, Owen, you're allowed to have a lay if you want. Although the lays didn't fare too well last night.
No. Oh, look, I think Agent Pippa will win the first, but it's obviously short. And I'm pretty keen on the Love Shack Baby in the cup.
Oh, and that's like $14.
Yeah, well, I mean...
That's massive.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think maybe the place bet is probably the thing. You know, I love doing this, and I've talked to Paul about it before as well. If I get the place price about my assessed win price, you should unload on it.
That must happen a lot, Gord, because you market them all evens and they're $5.
Well, Glenn only lets me... he's only allowed me to have 3 prices now. I think $1.50, $2 or $3. That's it. That's all I'm allowed. And it's a good way to think about it. I think.
Nigel, what are you concentrating on in the card?
So I've only had 2 bets so far. They are exclusive. Who I think
that's in the last race.
Is currently a good price. And the other bet that I'm backing no matter what is Sweet Tycoon. So hopefully.
All right, so there's a crossover there.
We're all either going to all be making plenty of money or in the fetal position.
All right, so I'm sticking with Oh So Hot in the Maiden race 2. Thanks for watching. RacingRant has lots of content every week. We have 4 shows. You get sets for every Metro Sydney meeting and the all-important Manly Yard Mail 5 minutes before each race direct to your phone. The first 2 weeks are free. We often have celebrated guests such as these 2 gentlemen and Mr. Daly.
I think people need to realise, Nigel started watching the show. He's now a professional gambler who makes a fortune. It's just an awesome thing.
He is the poster boy. Yeah. So look, just jump on board. As I say,
and Owen's just a scumbag that works for a corporate.
First 2 weeks are free, so if you don't like it, you don't have to pay anything. There's no obligation attached, but we love our community. We're up here at Coffs Harbour because, for that very reason, can't wait to get to the track tomorrow. And we'll have a preview on Friday for a wettish Randwick. See you then.
See you guys.
See ya.